before you started, I didn't turn on the recorder because I wanted.
Yeah, the recorder is on now. Well,
Okay.
today's date is December 13th, 2020, and it's a session with Zeke Matevosian. Okay. So I'm just, before we get into the session, I just want to briefly say that at the human level, each soul at the human level has both a female nature and a male nature, and we live out of both natures in different lives. So when we come into a life, we will maybe bring in the male nature, and then we have a body attached to whichever nature we are playing out in a specific life. Most often, the male nature will have a male body, and the female nature will play out of the female body. But there are times when, at the soul level, they make the choice to play it out in the opposite way, so that the male nature could come in and be a female, have a female body, or vice versa. So those often are gay people. They're often gay because you have the female nature. The female nature is sexually attracted to the opposite sex, but you have the male body, so you are attracted to other men. So that's the gay element. When it's if there's great discomfort with say the male nature in the female body, let's say the female nature in the male body, if there's a great discomfort, and there could be, if it's really great, that's when sometimes at the mind level people will say, I'm female, I want to change my body, and then you have the trans, right? Yeah. But it starts at the soul level, and it isn't something you can fix by going to a conversion camp. Yeah. Because it's at the soul level. The male body carrying the female soul, that female soul is always going to be fantasizing about other men. You can't fix that because it's at the soul level. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, you can't ever say always and never. So there would be cases where there could be some gay interest where you have a male soul in a male body, and I don't know enough about psychology and all of that to know exactly why somebody like that would be gay, but maybe has a problem with the mother, cruel mother or something. I mean, I'm making it up. So I don't know, but all I'm saying is it is, for the most part, you can't convert somebody because you're talking about the soul. You can brainwash at the mind level, maybe.
That causes trauma.
Smell the poop. You can brainwash. You can, somehow do something like that. But it's not really fixing the problem. But if a soul,
we don't want to do that, right?
You don't.
We don't want to do that.
No, you don't. But
that does feel like, because this is what really turns me on, and to hear that I must change it makes me.
But yours is not this. Yours is not the same. Yours is a pattern. It's not about the male nature versus the female nature and what body it's in. You have a male nature in a male body. Yours is a pattern from lifetimes of being in situations and conditions where you've been abused and mistreated and all of that. And over time, whatever those situations were, you develop this sexual connection to that abuse. Okay? So this is different. You can't change the past, but you can change the fact that that it's hooked you into the abuse pattern, into the victim pattern, into the connection. You can clear all of that, but if you feel like, I'm never going to have this something, whatever you get from it, again, you're not going to want to do that. You say,
that's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. I'm going to lose that so much pressure. That's what. Can you understand that? That's what gives my life meaning and purpose.
I do understand, but what I'm telling you is that
you're going to lose that, and then that would have.
You're beginning.
And then, Jana, I need to tell you this.
Sure.
I hear Alice, my sister, saying she doesn't have purpose. I hear Karina saying she doesn't have purpose. It's so evident to me. Karina saying she doesn't have purpose, that because she's had trauma from sex abuse in the past, she prohibits herself from having sex, and not having sex would make me feel like I don't have purpose to live, right? Do you get that? It's so obvious to be looking at that.
Well, I understand, but
she forces herself to be celibate. If I had to be celibate, I would feel the same. But she keeps talking about suicide. I would feel the same. It's so obvious.
But listen to me. I understand. But listen to me, kiddo. You now with Karita, you're seeing the possibility of having a healthy relationship.
Well, look, if I can have it, you can have it without the abuse. Have the worshipping and the serving and slavery without the abuse. Yeah, I'll take it like that.
Yeah, so that's the thing.
Without I'm saying stuff that actually hurts me, without being taken advantage of, without being used, without being, financially. I'm all 100% for that. Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that relationship with Karita has opened a door for you to understand that by clearing the pattern you're in with all the abuse and connecting all of that to the sexuality, it's not going to mean you're going to have to be celibate, that you're going to lose meaning in your life. Think of all the meaning. Think of all the meaning that you're getting from your working with Karita. Think about it. Really, Zeke. So much meaning, how much she appreciates you, how much you're helping, and you're helping with Ben, and you're helping her. There's so much meaning there without any abuse. And without you having to buy them to care.
And then just so I don't know what this says. There's absolutely no saying dirty things or looking at her dirty way. None of that whatsoever. No issues whatsoever at all.
Nice.
Because it's so fair. There's no part of me. I think that when I do that movement, it's a kind of a protest because I feel as when there's no sign of that, no tendency, no fantasy, nothing like that whatsoever. So that feels, that feels like wonderful,
So what I want to say is, welcome to the world that you can bring in your future. Welcome.
Hey, if I could get it like that, hey.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm in. Let's do it.
Okay, all right, so we're going to start.
That's what I want, off my own volition. I'm choosing that because I want it for myself, because it feels good. I need it, that's what I want.
Nice.
It's my decision I'm making for myself, nobody else. That's 100% what I want. Let's do it.
Okay.
All right. Make sure the recorder is on.
Recorder is on. It heard you say that, so you can't go back on that.
No good I want this. That's 100% honest what I want.
I know. I'm just completely teasing you, Zeke.
I know.
All right. Okay. So we're going to, it's been a while, but I'm sure you know that you know the scoop here, so I want us to quiet the mind, and I want you just to move out into the environment symbolically. Any thoughts, anything that takes away from the focus of attention, we want to activate that focus of attention and put it right on the dual pure soul essence. We carry a pure soul essence at the human soul and at the fifth dimensional soul simultaneously. I want you to activate that pure soul essence. I'm doing the same. And we're just moving it, expanding it, becoming one with it as it moves through the physical body, the etheric bodies, which are the mind of this life, and then continuing throughout the totality of who we are at the soul level. I'm asking that we join in one accord. Wait a minute. Phew. I don't know why I sneezed. Anyway, so we're joining in one accord, and we're going to call in the higher selves, individually, our own, and then collectively. And as we do this collective higher selves, I want to call in any other higher selves from any other direction to please come in. Okay, I'm seeing something else coming in. I don't know yet what it is. We do have other higher selves, certainly in the higher heart consciousness guys, but something came in and it's not presenting fully, so I'm thinking later in the session. Okay, so now we're going to become one with that connection, or we're already connected 24/7 in perpetuity with the originating source. We want to put the focus of attention on that connection, activating it, inviting in, opening up the doors so that all that originating source reservoir of incredibly powerful divine energy is now flowing in through and around us, and just engulfing us with all that we could ever want. And this is always in your highest ideal. So there isn't anything here that could in any way, shape, or form distract or take away from you or in anything. It's only in your highest ideal. And I see you at the human soul level, just sucking, absorbing it, pulling it in, breathing it in, like a sponge, just taking in the energy, just all this powerful light. And I'm not getting specifics, but doesn't matter. You're just bathing in it, taking it, and really, it's beautiful. Okay. Now I want to activate the rainbow bridge energy and the attunement energy. So our chakras are all zinging along. They're aligned. Everything is perfect, creating the platform. And I want to ask what this thing is that I saw. Okay. I'm having a hard time fully figuring it out, but there is something here that's been with you a long time, and you were saying something about a cloud coming over people. They carry their own cloud with them, or something you were saying about the cloud, and it's not exactly a cloud, but it reminds me of that statement that you made. It's as if there's this dark thing that has been following you around. I just don't know yet what that is. I don't know if it's something you carry at the energetic level, or some energies of some sort following you around. But I want to say, okay, now this, I've literally never gotten this before on anyone. But I want to say, and I want you just to start to release. Why don't we just release? I just want to turn my phone off because somebody... I want to mute my phone because somebody just sent me something and I don't want to be disturbed. Okay, so I just want you to start to release, just known and unknown, what this dark element is. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's just... And I'm going to start to tell you what's coming up for me. But I want you, and there's definitely fear here, and there's hurt here. I want you to release those too, because something in here. Okay, so I want to call on the higher selves, the divine energies and whatever sort, to please begin to help you release. And it really is a huge pressure behind the chest. I feel it at the heart center, at the chest center. I don't know yet what it is, but I'm going to tell you what I think, what came up. Okay. Okay, now please be careful with this, what I'm saying, because it's one of the things that I literally I've heard about. Joan dealt with it at times. It came up in Jane and Company a couple of times, but wasn't a big deal made out of it. Actually, I've gotten information from it on the higher selves, but it feels almost as if eons ago somebody cursed you. Now, understand that curses from certain people, they wouldn't make any difference, but certain people who played around with the dark astral, they could use, and that's how what curses do, hexes, spells, all of that, they're using the astral even though they have no clue what the astral is. Most of the time, nobody has an understanding of the astral, but you do, Zeke. So I'm telling you, it was eons ago, I think, eons ago in some very, not primitive life, but, low evolutionary frequency where you're in trying to help the lower, evolved humanities, and you got involved in something or with someone. I'm not getting specifics yet. Maybe it will come. But there was some tremendous anger and need for revenge on you from this person. And they cursed you. And they brought in this energy, and the energy, it's as if you took it in at the energetic level, and you've carried it with you all this time. And in different lives after it, it would get empowered from whatever. And this seems to be, at least in part, a source of this abuse pattern. And I just want to start there. There's more coming up, but I want to start there, just having you release this idea of the curse. Now, I'm telling you, it's been around for so long, it feels like it's part of you. It feels like it's part of you, and there could be some resistance to letting go, because even if it's nothing good or something bad, something we don't like, when it's been there for a long time, we just can't imagine life without it. Just like you were saying, I can't imagine life without this kind of abusive kind of sex, because that's meaning in my life. It's the same thing here. I want you to release this as much as you can, and I don't know for sure how to handle this. I want to call in Jane and Company, actually, and the higher selves in charge with them, and see if they can really help some of this release of this energy. I call it a curse, or a hex. It's something that somebody who was well versed in the quote-unquote dark arts knew how to do, even though they didn't understand what it was they were doing. They knew how to do it, and you took in the energy. There is a belief system here too. I want you to release the belief that the curses work and that you have it for the rest of your life. Now, this would not be something you have at the mind level. Please understand, this would be a soul level belief, because you were not cursed in this life. You didn't know anything about it. You wouldn't know that you carry this belief, but that's here. That this belief that, yes, this curse is going to work and I'm doomed to have it the rest of my life. And I want you to release that. And I want to call on divine flush, divine clarity of vision and expanded perception. I want you I want to call divine open heart and divine vulnerability and the reverse fan outside the heart center. And I want you to pull out and let go misunderstandings, false beliefs, misinterpretations, limited truths, this truth that it's going to be with you forever. And it's a curse based on the need for revenge. And so this curse is something that was going to bring you suffering, okay? And this is at least part, we've worked on other parts of the abuse pattern, but this is definitely a part of the abuse pattern, because when you're abused, guess what? You suffer. Now there is this, you found the workaround, you found the coping mechanism to take the suffering and move it into this sexual outlet where you actually feel like, hey, this is meaning in life. But it stems from the curse, and you were making lemonade out of lemon, so to speak. You were finding ways to bring positivity into the suffering you went through with the abuse. So I want you to release all of that, the habit, the self-identity, the doom and gloom. You're going to have it forever. Now I just want to watch. And Jane and Company are just zooming around, because any of this kind of astral energy, any of your energy at the energetic level in your thought form, habit, body, all of those don't have souls. They're just energy. So as long as you at the soul level are agreeing to let go of this, and I am seeing stuff coming off, it's not instantaneously all of it, but you are releasing stuff. And taking its time is good, because you don't want to be traumatized by a loss and then call it back in. And it doesn't mean you're going to call it back in at the mind level. You can call it back in at the soul level, because you miss it. Oh my God, what happened to that? I've been like that for eons of time. And so I want you to, this slow is really slow but sure, and I want to call in divine adjustment, divine assimilation, and divine integration so that you are moving to assimilate the change of not having that and not carrying that curse. I feel it right in the chest. And I think it has something to do with the whole coughing thing and the whole thing with your esophagus. It's playing out in different manner in your physical body and in your outer reality and with relationships. Whew, I want to call on divine breath. Wow. Yeah. Okay. I'm just watching. Give me a few moments because there's more elements here, and I just before I move on, I want to just keep working on this. Okay, Charles is showing me that he's coming in carrying because he works with the positive astral. And so he's taking energy from the positive astral. I don't know yet what. Some of it you're taking in and some you're rejecting. So I want you to release whatever it is that's rejecting some of the positive energy, because the positive energy, of course, is not only carried at the highest level of human energy, but it also is amalgamated with your higher selves. So they would not allow this positive energy to be brought in unless it was in your highest ideal. But some of it you're rejecting, and you have that right. But I want to get to the part that's rejecting some of this very high, very powerful, very empowering, very freeing energy. Now let me just see what's coming up about that, because, and I see this with people all the time, we all have to adjust, we all take some things in and not the others. This isn't any diatribe or any, anything. It's part of the human condition. And so let me just see. There is just such a strong self-identity of yourself as an abusee, someone who's been abused. This self-identity is huge. And why? Because it's not just this life, it's many lives. Okay? You've been in all those life things that you've, I think, very correctly have theorized, but also remember the curse, which in some ways made you choose those kind of lives, because remember the soul chooses everything. The curse can't do anything but empower your choices, whatever direction they may be. So if it has a negative energy, it's going to empower negative choices, and you're going to move into these other lives where you were again abused and suffered and this, that, and the other. So I want you to really begin. The self-identity is almost bigger than you. A lot of self-identities I see small, like little paper dolls. But this particular one, and many of yours would be that way, but this particular one is presenting to me as bigger than you. And so I want you to see this self-identity standing in front of you, just as an example. If you see it another way, that's fine. But I want you to see the self-identity of Zeke, the abused. It's like Ivan the Terrible or Catherine the Great, It's attached to you. It is so much a part of you, this self-identity. So I want you to see in front of you, but it doesn't, in fact, define you. You only believe it defines you. So I want Zeke the abused, just that image, two-dimensional, doesn't have to look exactly like you, but I want you to see it in front of you, and I want you, with your hands perhaps, or just however you wish, I want you to send divine love to this Zeke the abused. Divine transformation, divine neutrality, divine dissolvent, however you want to look at it, and I want you to just start to dissolve this self-identity as Zeke the abused. Okay? Okay, I see you doing it. And meanwhile, I want you to release anything and everything known and unknown that's fueling this self-identity, the habit pattern, the curse, the actual experiences in these lives, because maybe you chose these lives, but you still experience them. And so you still experience the abuse, so you have a high abuse pattern, a pattern of abuse, habits of being abused. All of this is feeding into this self-identity of Zeke the abused. And I really, really want you to send the light, and I want you to send as much divine love as you can, unconditional love, to Zeke the abused.
Janet?
Yeah.
Is it okay? Because I made the decision to let that go, and I see this anchor. I've always seen this anchor. You know, the one they drop in the ship?
Yeah.
The classic anchor shape. I've always seen that so often. It's always been there. Every time I get to this point, I want to let it go. I see the anchor with the arrowheads on the tips, not letting it go, like preventing it from letting go. I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, I know. I think we've worked with that anchor before, and this is partly why you have this anchor, because the self-identity, it's how you define yourself. Everybody who knows you within about 10 minutes or an hour in a conversation knows about your abuse. It's how you identify. I'm Zeke the abused, and it's this self-identity. You know, we all have them in different ways. Mine was I'm so inarticulate, or I'm an emotional basket case, and we have to by neutralizing this self-identity and all that's behind it. It's really is part of the anchor. We've worked on the anchor before. I know we have, but this is another angle, another type of anchor. The curse was an anchor. Now the self-identity as a result of that curse, and you accepting the curse as true, attaching yourself to it, now you have the self-identity. You've gone through so many lives. This is me. I'm Zeke the abused. Okay? So this is important. Just keep sending that love. Keep sending that, the unconditional love to it. Because
also, can I also say that the other ways also being worked on, it turns into also not only the ankle, but the weight, the lifting weights that I intentionally make myself go through the abuse because of the experience I gained from it, the strength I gained from it, the wisdom I gained from it. Like I was telling them, I know all the attributes of abuse, all the defense mechanisms,
but this is
all the manipulation technique. I know everything like the back of my hand. I'm going through this for the education.
I understand, and you've learned a lot, and this is great.
Yeah.
It's also, though, part of your It's part of your.
Now I want to stop. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not holding on to that. I don't want the weight. I don't want the anchor. None of it. I don't want any of it. I'm letting go. Making a decision. Right now, let it go.
Oh, see.
All of it.
You've done the learning. Now you can let it go. You don't need to cope anymore. You don't. So just with every tear, I'm asking you that you just let that go. That's some of the pain. That's some of the holding on. Okay. It's like the glue to that pattern is being dissolved. Glue be gone. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Glue be gone. I know. I got it.
Yeah. So I want you to just see those tears. Glue be gone is acting, and it's letting you let the glue go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Just keep letting it go, kiddo, because you don't need to just cope anymore. You don't need to find a workaround. You don't need to find defense mechanisms. You don't need to whatever. You have a beautiful window, a doorway that you have been shown.
Walk into it. Walk into it right now.
Nice.
Walk, the door is opening and walk into it. Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go on the ankle, let it go on the waist, walk into the door. Door is opening, walk into it.
Yeah, we're no longer going to find positive things about such a negative thing. We're going to let the negative thing go. You can find positive through the doorway.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy for you that you brought in Karita.
No resistance whatsoever. Let go completely. No resistance whatsoever. Let go completely. Open.
Okay, so I'm just calling in.
Go back to mute.
more and more divine flush, divine release, divine dissolvent, divine determination to the divine will to let this go and free yourself, divine freedom from this old pattern. I'm taking a look now at the curse energy, and it's about a quarter of what I saw in the beginning. So that it's still present. We want to still work on releasing that curse. It's just tied into so many lives. It's not going to be disappeared just like that. It's because the effect of the curse, because you believed it, you held on to the energy. The effect of the curse was it brought you, in part, it's not the only thing, but in part it brought you to some of these lives where there was a lot of suffering and a lot of abuse. So whoever did it, and I'm not getting that, and it's totally unimportant, got the revenge, so to speak, right?
Monica, that's what I'm feeling is the first Monica. She has something to do with it. She's like the center of this whole thing. The first Monica from previous life, that's what she is. That's what I'm feeling.
Well, she could have been in any one of those lives, but, this curse is so many eons old. I don't know. I'm not tuning in specifically on that. If you want to feel it's her, but I wouldn't lock into any specific person because you've had people like Veronica in many lives.
Yeah.
And maybe she's been in other lives with you and all of that too, but it's unimportant. We want to release the pattern that brought her in the first place.
Okay. Yeah. I do. I release it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just watching. Want all this stuff to be, I want you to be free from it, divine freedom. Okay, the self-identity of Zeke the abused, it's gotten smaller, but it is still there. So I still want you to, in other words, it's not bigger than you anymore. It was like bigger than life, right? So it's not bigger than you anymore. It's gotten down more to just about your size or a little bit less. Which is good. Maybe a quarter of it or a third of it has been dissolved. But I want you to continue to send light and love, appreciation, gratitude to this self-identity, and then let it go. Give it its freedom. By freedom, I mean you want to let it go into the light where it's dissolved, it's neutralized, and absorbed into your light. It is a self-identity you no longer need anymore. I want to call on divine interconnection, divine self-love, self-worth, self-support, self-nurturing and nourishment. Divine freedom again. Divine connection to all that you are at that very highly evolved human level, all that you are at the fifth dimensional level, all that you are at the pure soul essence level. We want that divine oneness, that divine wholeness to move in. I want to say divine purity, moving to the remembering and rediscovering of all that you are. You've already opened, as we keep saying, a door, a window, whatever, because you brought Karita in. This is absolutely the new pathway your soul is moving. And what you've done today is you've gotten rid of, or you're working on getting rid of, the things that got in your way, that slowed you down, that kept you anchored in the old patterns. So you're taking some more positive, really positive steps here. Just give me a few moments. I want to check everything out and see if there's some other element that I can address. I do want the divine breath and the divine circulation and divine integration, the divine redefinition of Zeke. Okay, now divine redefinition is not going to lock you into a fourth dimensional definition. Its divine definition is you're going to move into identifying yourself with the divine you carry within, which is your pure soul essence and your fifth dimensional soul nature. So the divine definition is similar to the divine connection. We want you to connect with all these things and then see yourself as that, divine ownership of that. And as that is getting stronger, I'm watching the Zeke, the abused definition starting to dissolve even more. It's the part that isn't dissolved fully is getting holes in it symbolically. It's like the light is making real dent on this. It's a symbol, but it represents very real energy. So I want you just continue to send divine love, divine love, divine love. This pattern brought to you exactly where you are today. You have turned so many things around. You have really moved forward. You are absolutely connected to, and your intention is, and your determination is to do your mission, to do your destiny. And as you dissolve more and more of this, your definition, even the perspective and viewpoint of the destiny or of the mission, is going to shift and change as well. So I want to call in divine change, divine expansion, divine clarity of vision. I want more divine glue be gone. Okay, I want to call in, like if you have an infection in your body, you get a shot of, or a pill or something of an antibiotic. Well, you've had this curse for a long time. I want to call in the divine anti-curse. I don't know what that is, I don't know what divine anti-curse is, but I want you to get that shot. And I also want to have the IV bags around for you to have the slow but sure release of this divine anti-curse, whatever it is, to help with the, really getting rid of it, because it is, you've done so much, but because it's been there a long time, I'm just giving you this added help to facilitate. Yeah.
So it's one thing I wanted to mention, that word, the C word, that I feel like I have trauma from that. If you could give me the divine anti, but not use that word with it, and just not use it so often,
The C word?
Can it define something, the curse, without that word, right?
Okay, this is interesting. Okay, well, first of all, I want you to release all your discomfort, because it's so uncomfortable because it's been nasty in your lives. Okay. So the discomfort is understandable, but we're doing something about it. This is the opportunity. We finally seen it in there. This is the opportunity. It doesn't have any. It doesn't have any power anymore. We've destabilized its power. You know what I mean? We've absolutely.
With a divine energy that doesn't have that word with
I won't. I will. I'll change it.
It.
No, it's no problem. I'll change it.
Think of a word, like something that could come up. You could use instead of that. Huh?
Sure. Just no problem. Okay. Yeah, first I will come up with a word when it comes up, but right now I'm seeing there's all sorts of experiences you've had with the dark arts. You carry very deep knowledge and experience with this kind of thing, and there is a lot of fear here, and I want you to release that fear. And I also want, you've experienced and seen with your own eyes that it could be powerful. This astral energy is powerful. From situations in the Jane and Company book that this has come up for Joan and for others, for Todd, where they've worked in the dark arts and then they've gotten like things attached to them. Well, sometimes it's souls, sometimes it's astral energy sent by somebody else. Whatever it is, you've experienced it, so it's really important for you to release the fear and the trauma, because not only happened to you, you've seen it happen to other people. When we're involved in those kind of things, we see it happening. We experience it. We're living it. We see our colleagues doing things and getting things and boop, boop, boop. So I want you to release all that trauma, and I want to call in the divine anti-trauma. I want you to release the experiences, the shock. There's a shock pattern here. Now, shock is something that's just recently coming to me, this understanding of shock. I discovered it for myself, and for some reason, and of course now I have that understanding, and so sometimes I see it in other people. When we have trauma, one of the things that we can have is shock. Now, if you have trauma of the body, like a deep wound of some sort, your body can go into shock, and if it's the body, the doctors are actually going to treat the shock in addition, or sometimes even before, the trauma itself, because the shock can kill you faster than the injury. The shock to the body, it stops the blood moving to the organs, and the organs can literally die. Now, I don't know much about shock, but there's something like that in there. So the injury would be treated and the shock itself, and that's what happens too at the emotional level. Not only do you have the emotional or psychological or mental or whatever trauma, but you also have the shock, which ripple effects. It sort of ripples into the body, into the mind, into the ethers, into your soul level. And I want you to we want to call the divine anti-shock in, the divine serenity, the divine, I don't know the word. Something that's going to smooth out that ripple effect. We want to dissolve that ripple effect. We want to heal, divine healing, divine I want to say divine slowing. We want the shock to slow. We want the shock to stop. So we want divine, God, I'm not getting the right words. I'm sorry. Luckily, my words, it's not reliant on my words because I'm already seeing beautiful energy coming in to help dissolve the shock effect. It's when something comes unexpected, comes out like field, it often comes from someone. It's major shock when it's someone that you don't expect it from, someone that you love, or someone who should love you. So this kind of shock is part of this trauma, part of the abuse. And so we've worked a lot on the abuse stuff, but we want to work on the shock as well. Okay, what the higher selves are indicating to me, because I couldn't find the words, is it's the shock ripples into the future nows, and then the soul or follows along. It's almost like it opens a pathway. It's hard to explain, but I'm seeing it. It ripples into the future nows, and so we want to send in the divine energy to dissolve those ripple effects, so that you don't just follow the ripple effects forward into the future nows, following the same, bringing in the same pattern. Okay, wait a minute. They're giving me another analogy. They're really trying to help me here. Okay, you have an earthquake and you have the epicenter where the earthquake happened, and then you have the shock waves that go out. So the trauma, the injury is right there at that epicenter, but the shock goes out and ripples out into the environment. So it's not only rippling into the future, it's rippling into other areas of your life. So I want the energy, you can just stand symbolically in the center of the shock. Now this will be all of the shock that you've ever experienced. So we're not doing one shock at a time. We don't need to do it that way. I want you symbolically to stand in the epicenter of the shock. You're standing fully and completely protected in your own light, and I want you to just pulse out light to dissolve the ripple effects. So it would be like sending light from the epicenter of an earthquake, sending energy or whatever. I mean, there isn't such a thing. That as you send the energy out around into the surrounding environment of the epicenter of the earthquake, it's calming. It's bringing the balance and harmony to the environment, to the physical environment, to the other, the land around it. So that's what you're doing. You want divine balance and harmony, divine calm, divine serenity, divine healing, whatever it disrupted or shook up. You want to have the divine healing, the divine, beautiful, beautiful. You're doing a good job. Okay. Okay, just give me a few moments here. I want to just keep watching. Okay, the self-identity that was so large of Zeke the abused is so small now that you yourself are like having to rediscover who you are, because the self-identity was so big that it's almost like you were disconnected from, or not even thinking about, or not even barely aware in some levels, I'm talking at the soul level, of who you truly are. So there's part of you at the soul level, it's like looking at yourself, like looking at your arms and seeing them different, looking at your body, seeing things differently, just say, who am I really? And really, there's this divine exploration going on, this divine rediscovery, that because you're so much more than Zeke the abused. It's just been an overriding theme in your life and many lives. So we're neutralizing this overriding theme, and so it's like, okay, without that theme, who am I? And I want you to be the divine focus on that open door, the divine focus to see that you're in a process, you're in a transition of moving from that self-identity of who you were to the new expanded self-loving and being loved, self-nurturing and being nurtured, self-valuing and being valued. You're moving to this kind of beautiful new way of enjoying life. Okay, the area that I saw earlier on is pretty much empty. I want you to start to send in divine love, divine healing. I want you to fill up symbolically that space that was there that you carried for many lives. It's now just about empty. I want that divine love to come in, divine healing, divine balance and harmony, divine nurturing, divine forgiveness. Because one of the reasons you took it in is that you believed you deserved it. So I want divine forgiveness in here so that you can forgive yourself. You don't want to call that back in. You never deserved it. That was misunderstanding. I want you to release those misunderstandings and misconceptions and release all that idea that you deserved it in some way. And I'm getting what happened in general. Something happened back then and you couldn't do something that somebody was expecting you to do, but your hands were tied. You didn't have the option. I'm not getting the details. But you never forgave yourself because it meant that there was serious hurt or injury to this other person who did curse you. You never had a chance to talk about it with them either. So there was no communication. I want you to release difficulties in communication, any kind of difficulties from every life, any blocks to communication, anything like that. But so what happened was that individual completely misunderstood the situation and blamed you up the wing-wang, and then, took his revenge. So I want you to release, I want you to call in divine forgiveness and release any of this idea that you can't forgive yourself, that whatever you did or whatever you might have done is unforgivable. All that self-blame and that self-attack, I want you to release that, because that too is part of the abuse. You were also abusing yourself with all of this self-blame and the self-attack. And then you welcome abuse from outside because you believe it's your punishment and that you need it, and maybe that's the only thing that can help. But it isn't, and all these lifetimes you've had it, it hasn't helped at all, because abuse doesn't heal. It is not a way to atone. As you know, I'm talking to the choir. So I just want you to release that pattern and any belief systems tied up with that, because that would just promote you from within to hold on to it. So we want to release this, you deserve it, you deserve to be punished, it's your way of atoning, and instead we want the divine forgiveness, the divine expanded perception to come in, the divine understanding. Yeah, you're doing a good job here. Okay, I feel that spot in the center of you has really done a lot of healing, and that in my image is closing down. It's not something we need to address at this point anymore. The other part of the self-identity, that is just almost completely gone. There's only a little bit, but it's just so little. This is something I think you can work on yourself when you're doing your work, to go in and just release any last part of this self-identity, so that it doesn't get a chance to re-empower itself. I would like to call in divine conscious awareness, so that when you find yourself describing yourself, talking about your abuse and all of that, that you catch yourself and start to in some way shift from, it doesn't mean when somebody's telling you about your abuse that you can't say, yes, I understand, I've been there. What's so powerful is to say, and I'm moving out of that. I no longer am bringing that in, or whatever, depending on where you are. But it's powerful to say yes, but then to also promote the change, the new perspective. It may not have fully taken hold yet, but we want divine consciousness, divine awareness to help you click when there's one of these thoughts come in that were the old self-identity. And so I want you to just, if you're alone and you get something like that, you can just quickly amalgamate and say, I'm letting that go. That's not me anymore. We are going to have the tendency from time to time to continue with it, and we can always work on it again, because this is a long-term pattern. We may not be able to get every single bit of it, but we've gotten a chunk. So that's the good news. But whenever you think of it, so we want that divine connection, or divine awareness, divine consciousness, so that when it comes up, you can catch yourself and begin to change the story, change the dialogue, change what you identify with about yourself. Okay, the higher selves are putting a cocoon around you. I have one around me. We're always connected to feet, which just means you can call me in at the unconscious level or consciously. Whether you pick up the phone, you just do it at the mind level, whatever. We are always connected. We're always going to be there for one another. And there is work still being done. I want to again infuse everything with the divine love, the divine acceptance of the self, the divine valuing the self, all of this kind of divine respect. And I want the divine pathway to the open door. And we want the divine forgiveness. I can't remember if I said that again. Divine forgiveness, divine shift, divine unfoldment. We want divine healing. Let's heal the esophagus and all of that. So we want the divine healing to come in too. On every level, not just physical, but every level. Oh, now I'm seeing another pattern here. I'm just going to say it. That self-identity of Zeke the abused acted as a shield. It actually had a self-protective thing. Something about it made you feel safe. So I'm not getting that because you're already in the cocoon, but I do want you to release any need to have this as a shield. It kept certain things out, but in fact not the things you really wanted to keep out. So it was based on a lot of misperception. So I want you to release any idea, any thought, any attachment to the idea that this pattern was a shield, that it was protecting you. And I really want you to release that. You have all the protection you need. You carry it within at the divine level. It's a mind level concept that it's protecting you. And it might have elements in the past that it did protect you. I don't know. But this isn't the past anymore. You're on a different journey. You're not replaying from here on out. You're not going to replay all those other lives. So we just want to release the divine protection. And there's fear here to let that go. There is fear because you're so used to it. So I want to call on, again, the divine flush, the divine release. I want to set up those reverse fans again. I'm feeling it in the chest, in the heart area. Release that idea that it is protection. I feel a desperation here. At the soul level, you truly want to release this pattern. It is desperate to release it. It has brought you so much suffering over time. And so I want you to release the desperation, and instead we want to call in the divine knowing that you will release it. So I want you to release the desperation and whatever that entails. And I want to call in the divine connection, the divine knowing that you're on that path and you are absolutely going to release it. That desperation is going to come up from time to time, and each time if you release it, it's going to get less. It's deep because a lot of lives there's a lot of suffering. So that desperation is deep, and I want you to release that as much as you can, when you think of it, when it comes up for you. Yeah. Okay. You did good, mister.
Yeah, this is definitely like groundbreaking, like that shift. I felt completely ready to let all of that go. No resistance, no hanging on, holding on, none of that. Just completely ready, let it go.
Good. I'm so glad, because that's what I felt. I just felt there were a couple really big things. So, but I really felt a readiness to. I mean, not only readiness, you let go of a lot.
Yeah,
So that was fabulous. Fabulous.
Okay.
Huh. So you don't owe me any more money. So, wait, let me turn the thing.